So let me ask you, kind of right out of the gates, how do you deal with talking about an issue that is uncomfortable for a lot of people? Like how do you handle this issue?
Well, I think that's really now what I'm finding is our mission is to create a safe space to have these conversations.
Yeah.
So, it's where people, you're right, it's uncomfortable. There's such a stigma. If someone has cancer, think about it. If someone has cancer, even if they're going through radiation, sometimes that's even uncomfortable to have that conversation. But when it's mental health and you can't physically see it, it becomes more uncomfortable. So this is where awareness is so important. And I just feel that right now I'm trying to collaborate with as many people as possible to be that mouthpiece so we can get the information out. The more I'm learning myself, I'm saying, wow, I wish I knew that 8 years ago when my brother took his life. I mean, literally, it's a checklist of, yep, yep, yep. And I said, wow, but I didn't know that information. So now I'm like, we need to get that out so other people can have that valuable knowledge. And knowledge is power. The more you know about it, now you become more comfortable in speaking about those things. And that's why I say, we're trying to bring light to a dark topic. No one wants to talk about death. No one even wants to write a will. No one wants to buy a life insurance policy. Why? It's associated with death. And
Yeah.
suicide is that immediate death. So it's a very scary thing. But when we say, it's okay to talk about it, there's hurting people that at the end of the day, it's not that they even want to die. They want the pain to stop. So how do we help them get to that point that the pain can stop?
There's a notion in Buddhist philosophy and in some other Eastern philosophies and also in Stoicism called, I think it's called memento mori, but essentially the idea is to contemplate death and think about it. And, when I first heard this concept, I was like, man, that is so macabre. That does not sound like something I want to do. But when you do it, what it does is it makes you appreciate
Mm-hmm.
life. And so this is an uncomfortable topic, no doubt about it, suicide, death, and things like that. But we're going to talk about it. My hope is that by the end of this conversation, it'll end up being a positive conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I got to tell you, Toby, I had a problem probably 10 plus years ago, and I've written about this publicly with panic attacks. I got into a situation where I was having panic attacks every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And it made me realize that I used to think, like a lot of people, that this mental health stuff and this PTSD stuff, this was all a little bit exaggerated, and you just needed to tough it out and just be a tough guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my personal experience made me realize that that's kind of stupid, actually. I mean, mental health is a real condition, and you can get real treatment from real professionals about it.